Welcome to Something Came from Baltimore. I am your host, Tom Yauker, and tonight on the phone, all the way from Sweden, we are chatting with Martin Matten from the new pop jazz fusion called Bear Garden. I fell in love with Bear Garden at first listen, more visual and cinematic than most artists. And I'm thinking Neil Simon, Fame, the Archies, and a Mentos commercial. It's danceable and it's jazz. Spring has sprung, and I think you're going to really enjoy this record. The album is called Sunshine Fruit. The release date, February 19, 2021, and it's on the Bolero Recordings. I actually feel that your music is jazz, but it has like EDM elements. I call it sunshine jazz, where it's very, very uplifting and fun. It's not really designed for a jazz fan, more or less someone who is really just interested in really cool music, and then they're into it. Someone like Medeski, Martin, and Wood would be considered a jam band that people were like, oh, that's jazz. They're not. That's not their primary thing, but they'll listen to it. Or maybe the Bad Plus.
It isn't necessarily jazz. It's for most people, it's a pop record. For some people, it's like an indie rock album, and that's exactly what I want it to be. Not a traditional jazz record, but more like a pop structured record with the influences from jazz.
I think what you gain from that is a wider range of audience of people who are more willing to, listen to it. Sometimes jazz gives it that label that it's a little too heady, and in your case, your stuff is a lot more fun. If I would say the word fun, it's fun. I don't listen to this new album, Sunshine Fruit, to feel down. I feel it to uplift myself, and I keep on going back to it because I want to feel that feeling.
Yeah, great. Now that's exactly what I want when I wrote the music, and also it's super fun to hear also a lot of like pop fans coming to me and say like, your music's great. That's not necessarily the case, but the music has reached a broad audience, which is I love it.
Where are you located in Sweden, and how are you doing in that COVID-19 time period?
Oh my God, that. I live in Stockholm. I'm born and raised in Gällivare. It's a small town with 9,000 people in it, in the most northern parts of Sweden. But I live in Stockholm since 10 years ago. COVID situation, I don't even know where to begin, man. It's heavy on all of us. It's haven't been playing a real live gig in 1.5 years now. Only live streams, and it's really
the Bear Garden. I was like, well, that's a cool name, but it's also a part or a location where you lived. Is that where I'm getting it, Bear Garden, from?
More or less. It's like there's actually a lot of bears in Sweden, and where I'm from, in the northern parts of Sweden, there's a lot of bears there actually. But the name Bear Garden actually comes from I think the bear is kind of an interesting word because it's both this fussy little teddy bear, this kind little teddy bear, but it's also this aggressive and huge and dangerous animal. So it has both sides to it, the name bear. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, can you explore the difference? When I started with the Bear Garden, I wanted to do something that people should not really know what to expect when they hear us, when they hear me play. I want it to be a surprise. Every album should be a new thing. Everything I do should be something unexpected, just like the word.
Your music, to me, feels real familiar, but it's not on the lines of music. Like I'm like, oh, this reminds me of a song. Your music reminds me of like a visual soundtrack. I've seen a movie or something, and this music would feel really good behind it. Like I think you're very cinematic in your style. It'd be interesting to see what you would come up with if you were able to do a soundtrack for a movie or something. The first two songs on the album, I'm like, okay, this reminds me of this, and this reminds me of this, and we'll get into it. But it feels like something I've seen before with this music as the soundtrack. Has anyone ever said that to you at all?
Yeah, almost every single interview or review of the album takes up that element. And yeah, it's true. I've been listening to a lot of soundtrack music and also a lot of classical music, mostly the French impressionists like Ravel and Debussy. And for me, that a lot of their music are really visual. It's like, it's hard to explain, but you get pictures when you hear it, when you hear the sound of it. It's more like the songs isn't just the songs as well, it's also the structure of the song. You can almost feel it, like it has that retro vibe, but also modern, but it like, I don't know, it takes you places.
Here, I thought I was being original, and I guess I'm not.
Sugar, oh, honey, honey.
Do you know who the Archies are? Remember the cartoon, The Archies? They did a song called Sugar Sugar. In The Archies, it's teens from Riverdale High. There's a TV show called now Riverdale. And the one girl plays tambourine, and her name's Veronica. And I'm like, I could be in your band. I could be your Veronica by playing the piano, because you're pounding out like one note like through the whole thing, kind of more as a tempo, or keeping like it's more of a rhythm track, you know, the piano. And I'm like, I don't know how to play an instrument, but I think I could play piano in your band.
You can try some songs out, and then we'll see.
Yeah, well, all right. Because an example, I think, that is the Electric Butterfly. Like it has that pounding of the beat of like one note for a long period of time, and I think I can do that. Let's play a little of Electric Butterfly so you guys can hear what I'm talking about. Could you also give a little update as to what Electric Butterfly means to you?
Oh man, that was one of the first songs I wrote for this album, and for me, that's the most like pop structured song, and I want it to be really joyful and simple, like super simple melodic structure, but with kind of complex arrangements underneath it. So you really get that like simple and joyful feeling, but still, if you really dig into it, you can hear a lot of things going on all the time. That's what I love working with a bigger horn section, is that you can work with all these elements moving underneath the melody. But for me, this was like just a plain, simple song and super joyful.
You know what Mentos is, the candy?
Cool with Mentos fresh and full of life. Fresh goes better. Mentos freshness. Fresh goes better with Mentos fresh and full of life. Bomboni Mentos.
Those little white candy mints. Okay, so this song could easily be a Mentos commercial. I was like, oh, this reminds me of a Mentos commercial. The Cherry Tree, the first song on the album, feels to me like it could be in a Neil Simon movie. It's very uplifting. Like I'm thinking of Fame, movie Fame. It goes in one direction and then it has that rave break where you kind of have that build up that is really popular now. Can you tell me a little more about Cherry Tree?
That song as well, just wrote it as a super simple. I didn't really know where it was going because I had the A section ready, the first melody, and then I was working a lot like, what can you do? What can the next part be? And I think I wrote like 20 different parts before I came up with that one. And to me, at first it felt like super hysterical, but then I thought about it, and this could actually work because it's super fast 16th notes all over, and there's a lot of things going on. And as you say, it's almost a different song, that B section, that rave part, or whatever you can call it. But then we tried to play it, and it actually worked really fine. And I think I can't explain it, but it really worked fine, and it made the song super interesting for me as well, because you have this calm A section, and then you go into this super B section, and they complement each other in a very nice way.
The most meditative and less upbeat, Catching My Childhood Friend.
It's actually from an old memory of me playing with a friend of mine, and we have this game in Sweden called Pelle. I don't know if you catch each other, you run after each other, and then you poke the other one like with a hand, and then that's the one that has to chase. So it's actually like from a really old memory of me being a kid and playing with my friend, like catching my childhood friend. So yeah, it really like goes back to my childhood and where I'm from and all of that. And
we got New Kid, which was a single of yours that already was released, and now you have a remix of it from John Charleston. The New Kid is kind of really upbeat and positive, and his remix is more chill, a little more slower tempo. Both are really interesting. New Kid. Okay, let's talk about that song.
That song, for me, I really wanted to feature like the huge sound of a big horn section, just like Fela Kuti did back in the 70s and 80s. Like, no compromise. Here we are, like full power, fifth gear from start to end in a nice way. I wrote that riff and it worked really, really nice.
We're going to listen to just a little of the remix version of John Charleston. You have the interest to remix them and create a whole new sound.
I really enjoy working with others and having other people and producers take my work and just do their thing. I think it's really interesting what they can do with my songs.
All right, so we're going to finish off. The last song to talk about is just the title track, which is Sunshine Fruit.
Yeah, that was I think Sunshine Fruit is the song that actually represents the first idea I had for the entire album, arrangement wise, and like the joyful feeling of it. And to me, it's just like, I don't know, like an old Motown song, super joyful, super simple, and just a lot of things going on, but still you just get that joyful feeling and like that.
I think you're on to something. I think you have something really special there. This album is a lot of fun. I think it's gonna, if once it gets into people's hands, I think they're gonna find it infectious. We're going right into spring. We had a really terrible year. Your album is very upbeat, optimistic, and other than creating a musical landscape, it channels into some visual from people's past of positive experiences, and you can't beat that. It's called Sunshine Fruit. It was released in February 19, 2021 on the Bolero recordings. The group is called Bear Garden, but it's the mastermind of Martin Matten. But I thank you very much for joining me on Something Came from Baltimore.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed your interview tonight. Something came from Baltimore. Please subscribe and flip it to 5 people who love music. We want you to be a part of that Be More Music scene.